Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, podcast listeners. A songwriter once said, "It's the most wonderful time of the year." And it truly is a wonderful time of the year as Christmas is upon us and Christians all around the world are celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ. Now, whether you're a Christian or not, it's a time when family and friends gather to exchange gifts, break bread together, and most importantly, to enjoy each other's company. You know, I've come to realize throughout the years that our views on the holidays and the traditions that we are accustomed to, and I'm not talking about just Christmas, and how we celebrate them have changed. Now, it may be by choice or force. Either way, I prayerfully hope that you embrace your new norm. So many people are suffering from one reason or another, and this time of year especially is hard. So let's keep each other lifted in prayer, and if you know someone who needs help, please try and reach out to them, providing support in whatever way you can. And I'd like to take this opportunity now, before I forget, to give a shout out to a Roderick, a first-time listener for me on his podcast. I ran across it today, and I found it very inspirational and motivational. His podcast is titled In the Mix Podcast. And on his December 16th episode, which was titled You Matters, he talked about a very sensitive subject, suicide, anxiety, depression. But what I found that was really interesting and touched me so much was the fact that it was two men who sat and discussed those issues. And they were very open in how they had contemplated or had experienced suicidal thoughts. Most oftentimes, people who are successful at committing suicide, it wasn't their first attempt, as he will share. I encourage anyone, if you have sons that you are raising, if you have a mate in your life, that you listen to this, because it was very eye-opening from a point of view, from a male's point of view, and that they were very open and honest in how all of this can touch them and affect people's lives. Because boys and men aren't brought up to be vulnerable, especially in front of us, and they hold it in. And with the passing of Twitch, we can only see that this topic needs to be continued to talk about. So I'm going to put his link into my show notes, but the podcast is called In the Mix Podcast, and the host is Roderick. And I encourage all of you to at least listen to the December 16th episode titled You Matters. Now, can you believe it? It's literally just days away from 2023. Woohoo! Are you excited? I am. I say out with the old and in with the new. And I'm excited about it for the new beginnings. I'm excited about hope. I'm excited for another opportunity to make a difference. And most importantly, I'm excited about life. And if you focus on the positive versus the negative, you'll find that there are so many things to be thankful for and reasons to celebrate as we look forward to 2023. Now, last month, I challenged you to think of something that you were grateful for each and every day. Now, hopefully, you had a chance to practice that exercise. Whether you're in a storm or everything in your life is copacetic. Copacetic, I bet you haven't heard that in a long time. Now that's a word I'm using for the old folks. Look it up. I'm sorry, for the younger folks, look it up. Now, I have to admit There's some challenges myself that I had, meaning I really had to go in deep to find that silver lining on a few occasions where I allowed someone to disrupt my peace. Because we only human and it will happen. But when you practice gratitude, it changes you in a positive way. You become less judgmental, slow to react to negativity, and you become more compassionate. Now, don't misunderstand me. It doesn't mean you become a pushover, by no means. Just think of it this way. If we all had more compassion, understanding, and tolerance of each other, there would be less crime in the world today because people wouldn't feel the need to resolve their problems with violence or be so mean-spirited. In other words, literally stepping on someone's toes wouldn't cause you to lose your life because it can happen, and it has, right? Or having a difference of opinion wouldn't spark an argument or resort to name calling or war to words on social media. Sometimes I just shake my head and move on because the things people say to and about each other is just unreal. But I like to share a story that I read by this guy named Nick Altner. That will hopefully serve as a reminder as we celebrate this wonderful time of the year. There was this blind kid sitting on the steps of a building, and he had this hat by his feet. Now he was holding up this sign that read, "I'm blind, please help." And there were a few coins people had, walking by and in their busyness, observed him sitting there with the sign, and they just hurriedly walked by and dropped in some coins. Well, this man walked up to him and he saw the boy sitting there with the sign. And so he took the kid's sign without saying anything. He turned it over and he wrote something else on it. And then he turned it back around so that the message that he wrote on the sign, the people would see. And he handed the sign back to the kid. Well, soon after that, people started putting money in his hat. I mean, it was just filling up the hat because a lot more people were donating. So later on that afternoon, the man that had wrote on his sign, he decided to come back and check on the boy. And the boy recognized him when he walked up because of his footsteps. And he asked in amazement, "What did you write?" And the man said, "I only wrote the truth. I said what you said in a different way." The man had wrote, "Today is a beautiful day, but I cannot see it." Now the author stated that both signs spoke the truth. The first saying the boy was blind, while the new sign conveyed to those walking by how grateful they should be to see. We forget just how blessed we are, even when we see others who may have some challenges that they're trying to overcome. So as you move through and about this season, and not only during this season, but into the new year, I encourage you to be a blessing to someone, to practice giving more than you receive. I wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's. Stay safe and be blessed.